Hello everyone, so great to see you again. It's Judy from Coffee, Cookies, and Books, and as promised, we have the second half of my book haul. As I promised in the first video, this is my mystery thriller horror one. There are 17 books in total that we're going to go over, and there are a few that are parts of series, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, we'll cover that when we get to it. And there was a couple that just came in that were two that I picked up from Aardvark in the June selections. So I can't wait to go over those with you. So we're just going to get started. First one is part of a series, which is why it prompted me. So this is Karin Slaughter, Indelible, and this is book 4 of the Grant County series. And this is the continuation of the series. There's Sarah Linton and Jeffrey Tolliver. He's chief of police. She's medical examiner. So, well, each book is a separate case, but in my opinion, you have to read them in order. And you have to read them in order because there is character development and things that happen to the characters that takes it along, even though there's a new case in each book, okay? So I will read this one because this is a different case. I don't think it's going to give anything away, okay? So we'll read. It says, when medical examiner Sarah Linton and police chief Jeffrey Tolliver take a trip away from the small town of Hartsdale, it should be a straightforward weekend at the beach. But they decide to take a detour via Jeffrey's hometown, and things go violently wrong with Jeffrey's best friend, Robert, when Jeffrey's best friend, Robert, shoots dead an intruder who breaks into his home. Jeffrey and Sarah are first on the scene, and Jeffrey's keen to clear his friend's name, but for Sarah, things aren't so simple, and when Jeffrey appears to change the crime scene, Sarah no longer knows who to trust. 12 years later, Sarah and Jeffrey are caught up in a shockingly brutal attack which threatens to destroy their lives. But they're not random attacks. They've been targeted, and it seems the past is catching up with them. So I'm assuming there's a time jump in there. That's what it sounds like, right? That's what it sounds like. I don't know if the beginning part is earlier because Sarah and Jeffrey were initially married. This all happened in the first book. Blindsided is first book, and they divorced, and Blindsided is 10 years after that, and they are starting to kind of get together again. So I can't see how this jumps ahead another 12 years. So maybe there's a past and present thing going on here. But her books are so good, Karin Slaughter. I mean, I've only read literally one book of hers I haven't liked so far. And I didn't hate it. It was right in the middle. I gave it 2.5. But all of her other books have been 3 stars and up for me. And there's been a 5-star in there too. So, yeah. Okay, next one is We Won't All Survive by Kate Alice Marshall. It says lights, camera, murder. Okay, and this one I picked up from Book Outlet in a sale that they had. It was a sale on thrillers, and it was where you could get 3 for $12, which is like $4 and something per book. So I thought it was a great sale. So I picked one of this one because I did want to try Kate Alice Marshall. Haven't tried anything by her. Everyone has something to hide. 2 years ago, Mercy Gray was hailed as a hero for saving lives during a mall shooting. She still carries souvenirs from that day. The fragment of a bullet lodged in her back, a mountain of medical debt, and guilt for ignoring her sister's warnings that the sweet boy next door was anything but. So when billionaire turned TV host Damien Dare recruits Mercy to compete on his new survivalist reality show, she can't turn down a chance at the whopping cash prize. That could send her sister to college. But when she and the other contestants arrive at the off-grid location, something isn't right. The set is empty. The gates close without warning, trapping them inside. And then one of them turns up dead. What appeared to first be a tragic accident quickly transforms as more contestants start dropping like flies. With time and resources running low, surviving this show takes on a whole new meaning. Mercy must figure out who to trust before she's next. This one sounds good. This sounds so good. I love stories like that so much. And that doesn't sound good about me, right? No. Next one, The Missing Ones by A.R. Torre. This, I believe, is a new one. I think it's her latest one. Yeah, 2026. So this one's new. Just came out. And I read The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torre. That was brutal. It was in a good way. Really loved that one. It was a little on the raunchy side, and the synopsis didn't prepare you for that. But now that I've read it, it's like I so want to read the next, because there's 3 books in that particular series. So I did pick up the second book because I really, really want to read it. So this is a new one. So I'm interested to see what she does with something different. One summer changed everything. 5 years later, the truth threatens to destroy them all. Behind the manicured lawns and guarded gates of Crestmore Estates lies a neighborhood built on secrets. 5 years ago, 3 residents vanished without a trace. No bodies, no answers. Just rumors whispered around the country club. Now, when human remains surface on the golf course, old suspicions rematerialize, and the spotlight falls on the women left behind. Andrea Kendall knows what people think, that her brilliant surgeon husband had something to do with his first wife's bloody disappearance. Sarah Batcher has spent years defending herself against accusations that she killed her husband. And Kate Moreau, the community's youngest trophy wife, can't escape the suspicious shadows cast by her husband's ex-wife. As the investigation circles closer, the wives find themselves bound together by fear, betrayal, and the ghosts of the missing. In a neighborhood where appearances are everything, each must decide what she'll sacrifice to protect her carefully constructed life before someone else decides to shatter them all. So, love the sound of it. It's like a 300-page book. So, can't wait to read that one. Next one is The Dreadfuls by A.R. Dunlap. Now, I can't remember. It's got like the little skulls on the side. It's like, this is such a cute book. I also have The Resurrectionists, which was by the same author. It's not a series or anything like that. These books are typically not series. Now, sometimes with some of the detective or books like Indelible, it's a series, but it is like a police procedural series. So that's like a crime thriller, which I love that. This is just not that. So this is like historical. True crime and historical fiction combined with mesmerizing results in this Victorian-era thriller featuring a rebellious, uniquely inventive young heroine determined to solve the case of the serial killer dominating the headlines, Jack the Ripper. London, 1888, committed to the Whitechapel Hall Reform School for Incurable Delinquency, Adeline Dell Morton is precocious, defiant misfit. She's also a voracious reader of the sordid, sensationally popular penny dreadful stories. In a stroke of luck, she's found a kindred spirit in her poised roommate Pippa. Their obsession is only fueled further by the Jack the Ripper murders, blazing a trail of terror throughout London's seediest streets, right outside Whitechapel Hall's front door. Desperate for adventure, they embark on their own investigation and discover an ally in Noah, son of the local butcher. The trio's budding spy work soon yields shocking results. Why was straight-laced Whitechapel teacher Miss K escaping the school the night of the latest crime? Could Jack the Ripper be she? Delving into Miss K's background, Dell is both horrified and thrilled to find that within Miss K's past lies a dark chapter enough to rival any penny dreadful. Dell's fixation with Miss K reaches dangerous heights with a series of suspicious events leaves Miss K in sole command of Whitechapel Hall. Trapped in their teacher's ever-tightening web of control, the young detectives devise a risky plan to track her. But what ensues may only propel them into secrets, lies, ruthless acts, and betrayals that go back decades, and a confrontation that will irrevocably change the fates of all involved if they survive. Like, wow, that was crazy. Let's see. This has like some cool end papers. Yeah. And, it's all got the skulls on it, but I really did love the edges. I thought that was just so cute. And this sounds fantastic. Like, I have to say, it sounds really good. And I like anything that evolves around Jack the Ripper. Like, there's that one series that's by Laura, is it Laura Thalassa? The Jack the Ripper, and the next one has to do with Dracula. There's like 4 books in the series. Absolutely loved that. I thought it was fantastic. So I can't wait to read this one. Yeah, I know that was a really long, it was a long synopsis, right? But it was good. It's really good. Okay, this next one I'm going to go with, there's the 2, okay? So the first one, it's 2 in the same series, and first one is The Recovery Agent by Janet Evanovich, and the second one is The King's Ransom by Janet Evanovich. Now, I read The King's Ransom. I read it as an ARC from NetGalley and absolutely loved it, but I knew there was a first book in the series, so then that came available on Book Outlet, so I grabbed it. So I'm just going to read the synopsis from the first book. I will not read it from the second book because it is, I believe, the characters are kind of introduced in here, but we'll find out because we're going to read this, okay? So, Janet Evanovich returns with the launch of a blockbuster new series that blends wild adventure, hugely appealing characters, and pitch-perfect humor. And, like, the humor is, like, 100%, okay? Like, there were some parts in this that were just freaking hilarious, but it was still so good. Okay, lost something? Gabriella Rose knows how to get it back. As a recovery agent, she's hired by individuals and companies seeking lost treasure, stolen heirlooms, or missing assets of any kind. She's reliable, cool under pressure, and well-trained in weapons of all types. But Gabriella's last job isn't for some bamboozled billionaire. It's for her own family, whose home is going to be wiped off the map if they can't come up with a lot of money fast. Inspired by an old family friend, Gabriella sets off for the jungles of Peru in pursuit of the Seal of Solomon and the lost treasure of Lima. But this particular job comes with a huge problem attached to it. Gabriella's ex-husband, Rafer, and he is in the second book. It's Rafer who has the map that possibly points the way to the treasure, and he's not about to let Gabriella find it without him. Rafer is as relaxed as Gabrielle is driven, and he has a lifetime's experience in getting under his ex-wife's skin. But when they aren't bickering about old times, the two make a formidable team, and it's going to take a team to defeat the vicious drug lord who also has been searching for the fabled ring. A drug lord who doesn't mind leaving a large body count behind him to get it. So I'm just thinking about her and her husband, because in the second book, her and her husband are hilarious. Okay, I mean they're exes in the second book as well, but yeah, it's like, it's one of those situations where you love to hate them, pretty much. Anyway, that's that one. Okay, next one is The Anniversary by Alex Finlay. So I picked this one. This is a recent purchase. It just came out in June, and it is Today Became an Anniversary They Could Never Celebrate. One fateful night in 1992, Jules and Quinn's lives are changed and intertwined forever. Quinn Riley, a boy from the wrong side of the tracks, is arrested after he innocently tries to break up a fight but ends up nearly killing someone. Jules Delaney, high school royalty, survives an attack by the elusive and terrifying May Day killer, a predator who strikes every May 1st in small small Midwestern towns. A year later, Jules is struggling with trauma and guilt, tormented by the question, why was I spared? Quinn is newly released from juvenile detention and returns home to fresh heartbreak, the unsolved murder of his mother. Over the next decade, their lives are revisited on that single day of May 1st as secrets unravel and the paths of Quinn and Jules converge. Two mysteries edge closer together. All the while, the Mayday killer is still out there and the clock is racing toward another anniversary. So, sounds good. Right? That sounds really, really good. Okay, next one is Headlights by C.J. Leede. Now, I think this is a horror. Pretty sure, like, it kind of looks it from the cover, you know? Like, this is hand being eaten, trying to be eaten. Looks like something like that. Okay, let's read the synopsis, shall we? Every instinct tells him to run. Every memory tells him he can't. Special Agent Daniel Stansfield is ready for a change. Burnt out and defeated by the job, it's his last day with the FBI. But before he can turn in his badge, he's summoned back to Denver, the city he ran from 4 years ago, with a chilling message. It's happening again. Seemingly innocent people are waking up on the side of the highway with no memory of how they got there, wearing the skin of victims they've allegedly never met, and they each share one haunting detail. A strand of a stranger's hair is tied around their tongue. Now Daniel is pulled back into the gruesome cycle, and every clue leads him deeper into the shadows of his own past. He will have to confront the ghosts of his traumatic childhood and face what's been hunting him all along before he and the people he loves become the next victims. So, I think this sounds so good. Sounds a little creepy. Sounds like it's definitely like serial killer-ish, you know? Yeah. Creepy. Okay. Then, next one we have is Kiss Her Goodbye by Lisa Gardner. I know very little about this. I got this in the 3 for $12 sale, and I picked it up because I've never read anything by Lisa Gardner, and this was like a fairly new release from her. So let's read this. It says, haunted by war, a young mother is determined to make a fresh start, but sometimes the sins of the past aren't so easy to escape. Recent Afghan refugee Sabira Ahmadi was last seen leaving her place of work 3 weeks ago. The local police have yet to open a case, while her domineering husband seems unconcerned. Sabira's closest friend, however, is convinced Sabira would never willingly abandon her 4-year-old daughter. At her insistence, Frankie agrees to take up the search, just in time for a video to surface showing the young mother exiting the scene of a brutal double murder. Frankie quickly notes there's more to the Ahmadi family than meets the eye. The father, Assad, is a brilliant mathematician. Sabira is a gifted linguist, and their little girl, Sarah, has an uncanny ability to remember anything she sees, which, given all that has happened during her short life, may be a terrible curse. When Assad also disappears under mysterious circumstances and an attempt is made on Zara's life, Frankie realizes she must quickly crack the code of this family's horrific past. Someone is coming for the Ahmadis. The violence is clearly an option. And violence is clearly an option. When everything is on the line, how far would you go to protect the ones you love? Frankie is about to find out. So, yeah, sounds good. That'll be my first Lisa Gardner. I think that's the only Lisa Gardner book that I have. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of break. Going to have a little bit of a drink, and we're going to get back to you with the last batch of the ones I have. Okay, so just took a little break there. We're going to continue on. And the next one is The Unraveling of Julia by Lisa Scottoline. So this one, again, was part of those 3 for $12 from the book outlet. And I wanted to try one by her. And I think this is one of her most recent ones. I think it came out last year, 2025. One awful night, Julia Pritzker witnesses the murder of her beloved husband, during a mugging in Philadelphia, on a Philadelphia street. Later, while she's grieving him, she's shocked to discover that his death was predicted by her horoscope. She becomes obsessed with astrology and begins to spiral, fearing that her fate is written in the stars, not held in her own hands. Her luck seems to change when stunning news arrives from Italy, informing her that she's inherited a fortune, a Tuscan villa, and a vineyard. But the inheritance mystifies her because she doesn't know her Italian benefactor, a total stranger named Emilia Rossi. Julia was adopted and has no information about her biological family, so she hopes Rossi was a blood relative. She flies to Tuscany for answers. There, Julia learns that Rossi suffered from paranoia and delusions of grandeur, believing herself to be a descendant of the Duchess Caterina Sforza, I think is how it's pronounced, who ruled during the Renaissance. Julia doubts that it's true, but she can't deny the uncanny resemblance between her Caterina and Rossi. She starts to unearth eerie parallels between them, including an obsession with astrology. Before long, Julia fears she's being followed and experiences delusions of her own. Even meeting a romantic Florentine doesn't ease her disturbed mind. Then events turn deadly, and Julia's search for identity becomes a harrowing struggle for sanity and survival. So, and a Tuscan villa sounds, or like a villa in Italy sounds lovely until you look at the picture on the front of the book, right? That doesn't sound lovely. That looks creepy. I'm not the only one who thinks that, right? Yeah. Next one is another one by Lisa Scottoline, and that is The Truth About the Devlins. So this is a older book than this one. 2024 or 2023, I think. T.J. Devlin is the charming disappointment in the prominent Devlin family, all of whom are lawyers at their highly successful firm, except him. After a stint in prison and rehab for alcoholism, T.J. can't get hired anywhere except at the firm, in a make-work job with the title of investigator. But one night, T.J.'s world turns upside down after his brother John confesses that he murdered one of their clients, an accountant he'd confronted with proof of embezzlement. It seems impossible coming from John, the firstborn son and most valuable Devlin. T.J. plunges into the investigation, seizing the chance to prove his worth and save his brother. But in no time, T.J. and John find themselves entangled in a lethal web of deception and murder. T.J. will fight to save his family, but what he learns might break them first. A wayward son, a wealthy family, a murder that could destroy them all. Meet the Devlins. Are they a family or a conspiracy? So, I love that. I think it sounds great. Yeah. And again, it's got a house on the cover. Have you noticed that with a lot of thrillers that have like creepy houses on the cover? Yeah, seems to be a thing. Okay, next one is It Happened on the Lake by Lisa Jackson. So she is another thriller author that was offered in that sale on the Book Outlet, and I definitely want to try. Her books do tend to be a lot longer. Like, they are chunkers, okay? But they do sound good. So this one says, It Happened on the Lake. In this twisty taut thriller, a woman suspected of murder returns to the Oregon town where a nightmare unfolded 20 years ago and is waiting to engulf her again. The huge Victorian house on Lake Twilight belongs to Harper Reed Prescott, as does the private island on which it sits. Harper wants little to do with either. 20 years ago, Harper's grandmother died suspiciously while in her care on the same night that Harper's boyfriend disappeared. His body was never found and no charges were filed, but the rumors haven't faded. There have been other deaths, other accidents, all revolving around Harper and her family. Now Harper's marriage is over, her college-age daughter is estranged, and Harper just wants to sell the property and make a fresh start. Except returning to the lake has stirred everything up again. Whispers, memories, and the persistent feeling that, as she gazes out at the houses across the water, she's being watched in turn. The whole town has always thought Harper has something to hide, and they're right, but she might have even more to fear. So there you go. Sounds like a good one. It's just with the thrillers, it's like, how many pages is this puppy? It's no long freaking book. It is like almost 600 pages. Okay? That is really long for a thriller. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. So that's why I'm glad it was only $4.33. You know? Because it's like you don't feel like you've wasted too much money on it, right? But yeah. Okay, next is The Ending Writes Itself by Evelyn Clarke, which is V.E. Schwab and Carol Clarke, who's a screenwriter. So it's the two of them together wrote this. And I haven't heard the best reviews. I think some people, it's been kind of lukewarm on whether they liked it or not, but we shall see. Let's read the synopsis. It says, 6 authors, 1 private island, 72 hours to write the ending that will change their lives. Arthur Fletch, one of the world's best-selling novelists, is a reclusive genius known for his iconic protagonists and fiendish twists. When 6 struggling authors are invited to spend a weekend on his private Scottish island, they arrive to discover a shocking secret. Arthur Fletch is dead, and his last book is unfinished. Desperate to publish the novel, Fletch's agent and editor have summoned these writers in the hope that one of them will imagine a worthy ending for his final book. To sweeten the deal, they're offering an irresistible prize. In addition to the honor of ghostwriting the final chapters for a mind-boggling sum, Fletch's team will also help the lucky writer successfully relaunch their own career, guaranteeing future bestsellers. The catch? The writers have just 72 hours to finish Fletch's magnum opus. It's the perfect plot. All it needs is a killer ending. Okay. Not long. Pretty short. Like 300 pages. Yeah, around there. So, typical thriller. But it's like everybody's kind of stuck in this one place, and then somebody dies and somebody else dies, and yeah. A little bit this, a little bit that. Love those kinds of books. Okay, next one is Molka by Monika Kim. So this, I believe, is more of horror-oriented, I think. Has to do with sneaky video cameras. So Molka, an abbreviation of Moire Camera, a sneaky camera hidden to capture covert images and videos for voyeurs. In an unassuming Seoul workplace, IT technician Jun Young's network reaches throughout the entire building. He sees every entrance, every lobby, every bathroom. The women in this building may be cold and dismissive, but he can always pull up his favorite images of them and remember who holds the real power. Until one, Daya, sets herself apart from the rest. Daya, ever the romantic, yearns to be cherished after years of living in the shadow of her perfect older sister, who tragically drowned years ago. Only her boyfriend seems to appreciate Daya. He's rich, handsome, and generous, but she's doing anything to hold on to the happiness he brings her. But when a hidden camera scandal rocks the city's elites, Daya's dreams of a fairy tale romance twist into a grotesque nightmare. Her boyfriend abandons her, her parents reject her, her grip on reality begins to shatter as visions of her dead sister suddenly appear. And as Young's interest in Daya turns to obsession and the truths of their troubled lives are revealed, Daya must go to the extreme lengths to bring truth to light. So it sounds like it's got a couple of different things happening in there in the plot. Most of the people that I've seen review it so far have been a little on the fence about it. I don't know if I've seen anybody say they loved it. Haven't seen anybody say they hated it yet. I have never read anything by Monika Kim, so I really am anxious to kind of read this one. It would be one that I don't know that I'd say that it's like a 5-star prediction, because I don't think it is, but it does sound like something I would like. And it's a really short book. It's like only 250 pages, in around there. So, super short. Easy read, right? Yes, okay. Next, Mad Mabel by Sally Hepworth. This is one that I had featured in one of my releases videos, and as soon as I read it, read the synopsis for it when I was doing that video, absolutely wanted it. So, book of the month, had it, so you know, I'm going to grab it, right? Perfect opportunity. Okay. From Sally Hepworth comes a twisty tale of justice, redemption, and one irrepressible woman who's not done breaking the rules just yet. Meet Eloise Mabel Fitzpatrick, 81 years old, gloriously grumpy, fiercely independent, and never without a hot cup of tea or a cutting remark. She minds her own business in her quiet Melbourne suburb until a neighbor turns up dead and the whispers start flying, because Elsie hasn't always been Elsie. Once upon a headline, she was Mad Mabel Waller, Australia's youngest convicted murderer. But was she really mad or just misunderstood? Either way, she's kept her secret buried for decades. Enter 7-year-old Persephone, a relentless little chatterbox who has just moved in across the road, armed with stickers, questions, and no sense of personal boundaries. Joan, who appears to have it in for Elsie, and a healthy dose of public interest. The cops are sniffing around, and the media is circling like seagulls at a picnic. So Mabel does what she always does best. She takes matters into her own hands. Is the cantankerous old lady with a shady past a cold-blooded killer with arthritis? Or just someone who's finally ready to tell her side of the story? Sharp, surprising, and wickedly funny, this is the unforgettable story of a woman who spent a lifetime being underestimated and is about to prove everyone wrong again. So, you know, I love it because she's older, which I can kind of relate. You know, a little. I mean, I'm not, what is she again? 80 something? 81. Yeah, I'm not even close to that, but I am retirement age here in Canada. Okay. All right. Next one. I'm not even close ready to retire, but you know, technically I am retirement age. The Shadows by Alex North. I read one by him, The Man Made of Smoke, I think is the title. Absolutely loved it. Thought it was fantastic. So I saw this one came up when I was doing a bunch of searches on Book of the Month. I always like to look at what Book of the Month had available from past offerings, and this one came up, and I thought I would grab it. It is, they believed they could control their dreams. Instead, they created a nightmare. You knew a teenager like Charlie Crabtree, a dark imagination, a sinister smile, always on the outside of the group. Some part of you suspected he might be capable of doing something awful. 25 years ago, Crabtree did just that, committing a murder so shocking that it's attracted that strange kind of infamy that only exists on the darkest corners of the internet and has inspired more than one copycat. Paul Adams remembers the case all too well. Crabtree and his victim were Paul's friends. Paul has slowly put his life back together, but now his mother, old and suffering from dementia, has taken a turn for the worse. Though every inch of him resists it, it is time to come home. It's not long before things start to go wrong. Paul learns that Detective Amanda Beck is investigating another copycat that is struck in the nearby town of Featherbank. His mother is distressed. It just ends there. Oh, wait, hold on. It goes on to the back, which is really weird. Yeah, his mother is distressed, insistent that there's something in the house and someone is following him, which reminds him of the most unsettling thing about the awful day 25 years ago. It wasn't just the murder. It was the fact that afterward, Charlie Crabtree was never seen again. So that has a very similar vibe to the first book, sort of, you know? But I mean, totally different stories, but same feeling and vibe to it. So I really can't wait to read this one. And then we have one more. And this is one that I'm really looking forward to reading. It is A Dissection of a Murder by Joe Murray, a dead judge, a silent defendant, and a courtroom full of liars. This is it's British, so it's English justice system, and she's a lawyer, and she is defending a murderer, obviously. So it is like a legal drama. Nothing is as it seems, and no one is telling the truth in this page-turning thriller about a young lawyer forced to defend a man on trial for a murder against the mentor who taught her everything, her husband. So she has to go up against a prosecutor who is her husband. When Lila Reynolds is handed her first murder case, she's shocked by the victim, a well-known, well-respected judge whose death sent shockwaves through the legal community. She's also incredulous. She's nowhere near experienced enough to handle such a high-profile assignment, but the defendant is insistent. He wants her, and only her, to represent him. Except he's refusing to talk, and if that wasn't complicated enough, Lila soon learns her opponent is the most ruthless prosecutor she's ever known, her husband. It's an impossible situation, yet Lila is determined to sway the jury until she's blindsided once again by a shadowy figure from her past. Suddenly, Lila finds herself fighting not only for her client and marriage, but also to keep her own secrets buried. And if she has to rewrite the rules to win, so be it. So I guess, it's her first big case. Now, I have seen this reviewed by a ton of people, and they all love it. Okay? I don't think I've seen anybody say anything really bad about it so far. So that makes me very excited to read it. Very excited. Okay, so that's it. That's all our thriller, mysteries, crime category done. Thanks again for hanging in there for the second video. Probably some people, that I split them a little bit because I know some people want to see one sort of types of book, and other people aren't interested in fantasy, are interested in the thriller part. So hopefully that explains one of the reasons why I split them up, and then it keeps the length manageable as well, which, I like to talk a lot, so never manageable. Anyway, that's it for now. I will be, so this is like a Monday, Thursday tag team on these. And then in the following week, I have a couple of really fun videos coming to you. I'm going to talk about Kindle Unlimited and all the books I have in there, because I have something planned for that. And then I'm also going to talk about, I'm going to do the mid-year book tag. So I've been working on that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, for sure. I've got like 13, 14 questions, something like that. So I'm working on that too. So those videos will be the following week after, and then we'll be into July already. Way too fast. Okay, that's it for now. I'm going to sign off, and I will see you in the next video.